Hi guys! I don't always start my videos like this. I do like to throw this in every once in a while. Some people have said that they like this style of an introduction to process videos sometimes instead of just diving right into stuff. So today I am going to be working with the Happy Travels for Simple Stories. Current time for me is way earlier than this video will post, but I am working on some deadlines. So this is one of my assignments for Simple Stories. Fun fact, I don't do a ton of traveling, but in February, I have to check the date on these, in February, my daughter and her cheer team went and competed in Anaheim, California. They came home with a third place trophy. So I had taken some pictures of me and one of the other moms who road tripped together because the girls had to ride on the bus. Anybody else that was going had to kind of get themselves there. So I just kind of documented, you know, us hanging out. It was mostly us going to eat. We stopped halfway, had breakfast, and then later that night we went out and had good dinner and some fun drinks, which I just realized I printed the wrong photo, but I print at home, so that's kind of one of the reasons why I like to print at home. Yep, I did. I missed one of the photos. So the other thing that I will mention is I do like to have a game plan, whether it's a sketch that like I've seen in my mind's eye and I've doodled it, a sketch from online, classes, magazines. I love a good jumping off point. I purchased a sketch bundle. Oh gosh, I don't even know how old it is. I feel like it's newer. It's from Scrapbook Generation. It's the Design Concepts #1, which is all about like wreath designs. And I'm just very much in the mood for that, especially with a lot of the icons in the Happy Travels line. So it's not the Design Concepts class that's currently going on at SCT Magazine. I'm enrolled in that too and I haven't started the homework yet, but I couldn't get the whole wreath thing out of my mind. And so I was like, well, let me go look through my sketches. And then I remembered that I had purchased it and I was like, oh, let's kind of divvy into that. So I don't foresee a ton of photos or a ton of paper for the sketch that I'm thinking about doing a modification of. The sketch itself, I think where I kind of see the end result in my brain is a good use for a lot of these travel icons. Personally, I love the colors in this line. I love a lot of the images and stuff that are going on. Unfortunately, I don't go very many places, so I don't have a lot of travel opportunities. So for me, this is one of those things where if I know, more than likely I'll probably use this for one travel dedicated layout. I think when I pull this back out, I'm going to be doing more of like a focus on the more, not generic, but like not theme specific things to do something else with it. So when I have something like that happen, I tend to kind of turn the thing on in my brain where it's go ham. Make like one of those crazy layouts that uses a ton of stuff because I don't know when the next time I'm going to document, you know, travel. So I think that's where my brain went with like the wreath design. So I think what I'm going to do is probably try to pick some of my favorite patterns from in here and maybe do like use one for a background and then kind of do like that matting technique. Maybe we'll see. I kind of want to have something where, you know, I have like my photos are taking up like 2/3 of a square and then a long journaling strip taking up the other third of the square, and then do a frame around the square with just all the fun stuff, especially like the cars and, you know, that kind of stuff. So I had shared this in my unboxing. I will link that down below in the description and up in the top right if I can remember to. So I have all of this stuff to kind of pull from. I don't think the frames, I'm kind of wanting to do more of like a collage, so I don't think that this is going to come into play. And I also don't think I'm going to pull anything from the 6x8, but like I said, we'll see. Now that I'm looking at this, I need to look at the 12 by 12 papers because I think that this pink might be really good to print my journaling on in the 12-inch version for that skinny strip that I was talking about. So to get started, I'm gonna go reprint that photo that I grabbed the wrong one and start figuring out my paper bases so that we can get to the fun part of making that frame. All right, so to get started on the process, I did a quick flip through of all the pattern papers and just kind of pulled out some of my favorites. No surprise here, I pulled out a lot of B-sides. Like I said, I love the colors in this collection and I really liked a lot of the B-sides. I'm gonna go ahead and trim down my photos. It's not until the time that I'm editing the video that I realize 100% I could have cropped these and dropped them all on one canvas in Photoshop and printed them as an actual photo collage. I think the reason that I didn't in this case was I wasn't 100% sure if I was going to do, you know, a square or if I was going to have like my photos kind of go in a frame and put the journaling in the middle. So a lot of times if I'm not 100% sure on photo placement, I will just kind of build my collage onto some white cardstock and kind of go from there. It just kind of depends on how much pre-planning I've done as far as how I go and print my photos for collage purposes, if that makes sense. Now, I absolutely love this like white doodly pattern on this black paper. I thought that this was what I was going to choose. I went back and forth probably for a good hour just on paper selection. I really loved the way that this looked. Ultimately, I am going to switch it up here in a second. Knowing that I was going to have a frame of all these embellishments, I switched it up and I wanted to have white paper kind of give me that breathing room going around everything. So I did print my journaling on that pink notebook kind of pattern paper, and I'm building this like square area onto some black cardstock from the Color Vibe collection. And no stitching on this one. I always tell people if you get the stitching bug, you kind of have to force yourself to cleanse the palette every once in a while. And I just kind of felt like with that like dynamic embellished frame design that I was going with, I didn't need to stitch on this one. This one was going to be more just kind of playing with product. And like I said in the kind of intro planning clip, I don't travel a whole lot. So to me, this doesn't feel like an overuse of embellishments because I don't have a ton of photos or a ton of like opportunities to go ahead and use a lot of these travel specific icons. 100% I'm going to dip back into this for more of those like fun B-sides, a lot of like the florals, and more of the kind of broader themed options that are in here. Now, I got really lucky here. Normally, anything that I would put on a photo printed at home would have ruined that. These foam adhesive like titles come up really well. Originally, I liked it nestled on the corner of that photo underneath my journaling, but then I remembered that I'm going to have this frame kind of going around, and I wanted my title to actually kind of participate within that frame, if that makes sense. So I did go ahead and lower it. And basically what I'm doing is I'm building my frame along the edge of that white cardstock. I start with as many of like the big elements as I possibly can. We didn't take a taxi, but the taxi was the other kind of car going in the direction that I needed. It wasn't until like now that I'm realizing that there is a car on the sticker sheet right there. That little blue one would have matched my car a little bit better. I didn't see him. So I've got the orange one down in the corner. The hot air balloon with the cloud actually kind of worked really well to go around a corner. And then I just go through and things like those labels where there's 3 of them, I just try to spread them out. The black with the white doodle kind of icons, I used a bunch of those, so I just tried to make sure that they were kind of spread out. And then I sprinkled some florals, kind of made sure that they were also spread out pretty evenly. And then as I'm coming in and tucking like more and more items in here, I'm focusing a little bit on color. So like the journey tag at the top and the taxi are very, very yellow. So when I'm adding things to the top area, I'm kind of avoiding yellow. Same thing with like the corner where I have the orange car and the corner with the hot air balloon. I'm trying to pull in other colors. I really want this to just kind of be an explosion of fun in this like square frame design. And again, I'm just having fun sort of using up a ton of stuff on a single page layout that still has 5 photos, still tells a good story, and, you know, kind of documents this. I will say I forgot to add the date, so when I go to put it in my album, I think I'm just going to take a date stamp and stamp it underneath my journaling on that pink paper area. I did, right after I finished filming, I felt like the pink paper where my journaling was just kind of felt a little bit naked. So I do off camera add a phrase sticker to the top and some hearts down on the bottom, which you guys will be able to see that in the finished photos. So the only other thing that I really need to do is go ahead and add my date so that I can go ahead and put that away. I did go ahead and I pulled out some stuff from the chipboard. The chipboard has these teeny tiny hearts that I just absolutely loved. And then the adhesive brads had a bunch of like the same icons that I was using. So I just pulled ones that had like the little GPS kind of looking phone thing, the car, stuff like that. I almost came in with enamel dots, but I kind of felt like the hearts were sort of pulling the job that you would see from enamel dots, so I decided to kind of leave that. So here you can see I did add that road trip sticker and some hearts below. So to the right of the hearts is probably where I'll go ahead and stamp my date. And I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope this kind of helps you remember to go use like either classes, sketches, jumping off points, challenges, stuff like that, stuff that you've saved that you're like, oh, I want to try this. Go back and do them. So with that, I'm going to leave you guys here. If you haven't subscribed, I would love for you to join me. Hopefully you'll check out one of these suggested videos, and I'll catch you later.